You know, this is the agenda in the Middle East right now to establish Greater Israel. If anybody wants to understand the magnitude of the ethnic cleansing agenda in the Middle East, then you have to read the book, The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine, by a Jewish historian by the name of Ilan Pappé. And Ilan Pappé himself says, anybody who believes that the Zionists will stop this outrageous agenda before they have rid the whole region of the non-Semite peoples, which is ridiculous, of course, because they are all Semite anyway, but the non-Jewish people, he said they live in a world of delusion. So where are all the people that they're trying to get out of Greater Israel, everything that lies between the Nile and the Euphrates, where are they going?
Europe. Yes.
Let me share with you an interview that Peter Sutherland gave with the BBC on June 21st, 2012. In that interview, he said the EU should undermine national homogeneity. He said the EU should, member states, Peter Sutherland told peers the future prosperity of many EU states depended on them becoming multicultural. Multicultural. He went on and said, we still nurse a sense of our homogeneity and difference from others, and that's precisely what the European, in my view, should be doing its best to undermine. This is the guy, by the way, he's the founding Director General of the World Trade Organization, which he took over in 1994. He was chairman of BP, he's still chairman of Goldman Sachs International, he was on the board of Royal Bank of Scotland when it collapsed. He was one of the prime movers in bankrupting Ireland. Although he wasn't present, he was on the phone at the meeting that was held between Brian Cow and Brian Lenihan and the head of Bank of Ireland and Anglo-Irish, telling them that the Irish government needed to underwrite all the assets and liabilities of Irish banks, effectively taking Ireland into bankruptcy. So this is the type of individual that we're dealing with here. Peter Mandelson said, immigrants, we sent out search parties to get them to come and made it hard for Britons to get work. The corporatocracy loves this because the corporatocracy is smelling minimum wage. Minimum wage and 0 hours contracts for those positions that they can't automate. And the more a corporation is able to reduce its employee costs by reducing payroll to minimum wage or 0 hours contracts, the higher their salary gets. So, the differential in earnings is the most extreme it's ever been. The distribution of wealth in this country is going all in one direction, whilst the country goes bankrupt. And that's the same everywhere. So how are we going to get the British public to agree to masses of immigrants coming into a country? Well, it's very simple, really. We just play on their emotions. Now, this is not a black and white argument, because what the media is trying to present is that there's only 2 points of view. One is open the floodgates and let them all in. And the other point of view is don't let any of them in. And of course, what that does is it pitches the two extreme views against each other. So for those who say let them all in, the other groups are racist. And for those who say let them all in, then basically, they're like, you're destroying the country, you're destroying the nature of the country. So what it's doing is it's shutting down debate. It's shutting down discussion because there's a middle ground. Of course, we're bombing the crap out of these countries. We're destroying the infrastructure of these countries. So of course we've got a responsibility to do something with the displaced people. But to open the floodgates?
That's what happened in Germany to get Hitler to power extreme right and extreme left.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. The easiest way for any government to get its agenda through is to pitch the population against each other and polarize the viewpoints. Couldn't Hope Kalergi count Coudenhove Kalergi was an Austrian aristocrat, and in the 1920s he wrote a series of books, and the most well-known book is called Pan-Europa. And in Pan-Europa he makes the case for the destruction of nation states in Europe through mass migration. And what he says is basically we have to destroy nation states so that they just become effectively slave workers. And he says we can then have a combined Europe ruled, and I quote, by the traditional aristocracy and the spiritual elite. There is an annual award, a Coudenhove Kalergi Award, which is awarded to the international statesman who is perceived to have done the most to perpetuate this goal.
Angela Merkel.
Angela Merkel is a winner, as is Tony Blair, as is Peter Sutherland, as is Peter Mandelson. And Von Rompuy, exactly. So, you know, of course, there are people who say, no, that's just rampant conspiracy theory. Yes, of course it's a rampant conspiracy theory, but it's true. Those who are conspiring have left the evidence for us to read for ourselves and to determine whether or not we are going to allow it to unfold, because they're telling us what's happening. And this is why what we're seeing is this mass migration. The vast majority of the people coming are not Syrians, and has been observed, they're not families. They are single young men, and they are migrating from the countries who either make up Greater Israel or are in the adjoining countries there.